What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. One thing I talked extensively, thanks to everybody who was on the nearly hour-long post show, where we really didn't even get into SmackDown. I basically just ramped it and took your questions and kind of dabbled through a lot of the cliff notes of what happened on SmackDown. It was a bad show. It was a really bad show. Like WWE television this week was not good. Um, the main characters, obviously, John Cena was heavily involved in this show. And we need to talk about John Cena and, the complete abandonment of the heel turn and, the creative decision that was. But the piece of this that really frustrated me throughout the night, like John Cena was a key figure on this show, had multiple segments, led off the show. He had a backstage segment with R-Truth, and then he obviously had the main event match. That really didn't last very long. I think we got I think it timed out to be about a total of 8 minutes or so. And then it ended in a Logan Paul low blow. So it was a DQ finish, shocker. And, clearly, and it was announced throughout in the course of the show that John Cena is facing Logan Paul at Clash in Paris at the end of the month. So listen, I'm not going to pretend, and I'm not going to be one of these people on the internet who's going to be like, there's people who are going to feel how they want to feel about Brock Lesnar and, the personality and, obviously the lawsuit that he is still involved in. I'm not here to talk about that. Like, I've delved into the controversial decision, and I basically have said plain English. If you guys don't like the decision that WWE made or how they handled it, you are more than within your right to stop watching the product. I have talked to multiple people who are, and some of whom are women who have absolutely told me to my face they are not watching WWE because they brought back Brock Lesnar. You are more than within your right to do that. You absolutely have the right to do that. I do not like the way that WWE has completely dodged every single conceivable question about Brock Lesnar. That being said, if you're going to bring Brock Lesnar back like you did to create a moment at SummerSlam to close out your first ever 2-night SummerSlam and seemingly set the stage for a John Cena Brock Lesnar feud, which is very interesting because these two men have a boatload of history with each other. Ton of history with each other. Brock Lesnar made his return in 2012 at the expense of John Cena after WrestleMania 28. He killed John Cena at SummerSlam 2014 in one of the most noteworthy squash matches for a WWE championship in the history of not just WWE, but professional wrestling. For a main event to end like that, like these guys have a ton of history to tap into. So on that respect, I totally get why they'd want to go with Brock Lesnar and John Cena. But if you're going to end the show, SummerSlam, with that moment, reference it on Raw, you're in Canada where Brock Lesnar does reside, and you don't even follow up on it on SmackDown one bit. Like, there was no follow-up. Not even a backstage vignette reminding us of who Brock Lesnar is. Not even Brock Lesnar showing up to the building in his car, maybe doing some sort of a pre-taped interview. Nothing. And no explanation as to why he came back after 2 years away, almost to the day when he left from SummerSlam 2023. Not a single explanation. Oh, John Cena thinks he's going to have this great retirement tour and retire without having to go through the beast, the guy who he came up in the business with. The fuck are you talking about? And we got none of that. We didn't even get Brock Lesnar in the building. We didn't get a pre-tape. We didn't get a vignette. We didn't get any sort of storyline progression on that. Instead, we got Logan Paul. Admittedly, Logan Paul is a great heel. It'll probably be a fine wrestling match, but let's be real. Nobody was asking for John Cena versus Logan Paul. Some people weren't even asking for John Cena versus Brock Lesnar on his retirement tour, but at least with John Cena and Brock Lesnar, there is some story there. And the fact that WWE did not follow up on this at all, and they're going to basically make us wait until after Clash in Paris, or maybe during Clash in Paris when Brock Lesnar makes his appearance there, and we go to Perth. That's what this is going to be. Guys, you have a ticking clock with John Cena. He is retiring in December. And basically, we wasted 5 months on this bullshit heel run that went almost nowhere. There were some admittedly fine matches and some decent moments, but You presented it to us like, and you also propped up the social media engagement and all the views and all the streamers who were reacting to it like you were going to follow up on it. And instead, in front of a hot crowd in Montreal, what you gave us on Friday night was simply John Cena opening promo, set up the match with Logan Paul. Then you get the tag with Drew McIntyre teaming with Logan Paul and John Cena tagging with Cody Rhodes. And the match went nowhere. The match went admittedly nowhere. We legitimately probably saw like 5 minutes of actual wrestling, or 3, 4, 5 minutes of actual wrestling because there was a commercial break in between. John Cena's only got like 10 of these appearances left. And you're going to waste a couple of them on Logan Paul. Yet you brought Brock Lesnar back at SummerSlam. So now that's going to be a match at Perth. I'd love to see John Cena face Drew McIntyre. I'd love to see John Cena face Gunther. I'd love to see John Cena face Braun Breaker. I'd love to see John Cena face AJ Styles. The odds are you're probably not going to get half of those guys in this picture because we are wasting a month getting to Logan Paul. Admittedly, like I said, the match will be fine, but we've already seen John Cena and Logan Paul tag with one another. We've already seen that. We've got limited time left. And you presented a massive angle that you were propping up all the impressions and all this media stuff with, only to not even follow up with it once on SmackDown. At least you mentioned it on Raw with Michael Cole saying, hey, I talked to Nick Khan and Triple H, and this is what they said. Hey, and, you know, they've talked about Brock Lesnar in the media. I don't like the way that they've dodged questions. It makes you wonder, did they pivot off of this because they wanted fans to just forget about Brock Lesnar and forget about all this drama and then come back in 4 weeks when he does come back? Maybe that's what they're doing. I have no idea what this was, because outside of the John Cena stuff, and it's great to see John Cena as a babyface again, but outside of that, this show sucked. This show sucked on Friday night. Next to no storyline progression moving into Clash in Paris. You get the John Cena-Logan Paul match, but even then, John Cena and Logan Paul brawled to the back, and hey, we set up an angle with Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. And Drew McIntyre, while I'm very excited to see this match, Drew McIntyre, through injuries and bad booking over the last year since that CM Punk feud, does not feel nearly as significant of a challenger for Cody Rhodes. And Cody just won the championship, so they're not going to give Drew McIntyre the championship, even if Cody's got to go film Street Fighter. They're not dropping the title there. So forgive me for being underwhelmed about this shit. Everybody gets on me because I am always like, you know, I'm glazing WWE. I'm going to say all the positive things, and I'm going to totally take a battle axe to AEW. This was not good. And when you have a big show you come out of and you follow it up with the 2 shows that they had with Raw and SmackDown this week, it's really disappointing. Like, this is not about, you know, hey, the outrage over Brock Lesnar being brought in. Again, like I said at the top of the video, you are well within your right to stop watching the product if you do not like that WWE brought back Brock Lesnar despite being in an active lawsuit. Listed 44 times in it or whatever it was, 40 plus times or something like that. That's not what this is about. This is about the wrestling side of this thing. Because they know they've made their bed. They don't give a shit about that. When you bring him back to television, I expect a follow-up. I expect, hey, tune in on Monday or Friday and find out why Brock Lesnar wants to get at John Cena. It's like it didn't even happen. WWE has become so focused on moments over matches, and listen, moments are fine if you tell the stories out of it. I've always said that to you guys on here, and that's what bothers me about AEW. WWE is now starting to slip into the same thing. They had a big moment where they brought back a guy who nobody thought would be back in WWE. A lot of people didn't ask for it. It seems like more people than I've talked to. There's a lot of people who are outraged by it, but there's a lot of people who are happy to see Brock Lesnar back after 2 years. And yet here we are 5 or 6 days since that return. We've had no explanation. We've had no rhyme or reason of what they're doing with this. It's just, hey, let's tune in. And hey, you know what? Hey, John Cena, he's facing Logan Paul. So Brock Lesnar, we're tabling that for right now. What? After all the headlines that this company had throughout the week, I expect better. I expect better. I don't care how much money they're making. That's never been an issue for WWE. And they are more profitable than they ever have been. Congratulations. But you need to be better creatively. And when you have a big angle like you did on Sunday, and then 5 days later, Brock Lesnar is nowhere to be found, is barely even fucking mentioned. John Cena doesn't barely even talked about him. He had the most generic babyface thing. If you want some, John, I've heard that for almost 25 years. This is a guy that you know personally and you have a personal attachment to. Talk about the meaning of, hey, Brock Lesnar showing up after you lost the WWE Championship and embarrassing you on your retirement tour. At least give me something there, but there was no follow-up to that. The Brock Lesnar not being there is a whole other issue, too, and that's a big problem. But John Cena didn't even seem to care. And I love John. Seriously, this was not good at all. This was not a good SmackDown. It really pissed me off. And like I said earlier in the week, I am starting to see Vince McMahon tendencies within WWE. This is the same company that will suck your money dry, will put on a shit product as long as they have butts in the seats. And until they do that, and until they recognize that people are going away, they're not going to change a goddamn thing. And this is the company that expects you to pay $30 a month for a streaming service to go watch their pay-per-views moving forward after grooming you to pay $9.99 for it. Or what is it, $15 now? Like, I get it. It's a business, but you still have to produce good content. And this wasn't good. That's my thoughts on that. We'll have a lot more coming here on the channel. I'll see you guys soon.